Hi everyone and welcome to this video. In the first video we looked at a water heater or water geyser element and we compared it to a resistor, and we found that it doesn't care whether you use AC or DC, it just works. So in this video the purpose is to show you or to teach you what you need to know to customize this to work for your setup at home. So with the information I hope to share with you on this video, you should be able to configure and set up your system at home to your needs. In the first video I put out some formulas. If you had electronics you would know how it works. However, if you are not, you will say, what the heck? So this is basically Ohm's law. That's what they call it. So that's volts, amps and resistance. Voltage, current and resistance. If you need resistance, the formula is then I equal V divided by R. If you need to calculate resistance, then R equals V divided by I. And if you need voltage, then voltage equal I multiplied by R. And that's how we get to this. So this is just a formula we use to calculate the different factors that influence the power that's going into our element. So now that you know how this works, let's show you more about it. So let's assume you have a water tank filled with water. This thing connects to a pipe. On the pipe we have a restrictor that restricts the flow of water. The pipe will then continue and drive a water wheel. So the water has got pressure, so the pressure has got the potential to do work for us. So that will be then the voltage in our equation. The restriction we have here, which can be maybe a little plunger that you can screw in or out, that will cause resistance in the flow of the water, so that will then be R, our resistance. And then the flow will then be our current, which will then be I. So if you start with Ohm's law with 1 on everything, that means 1 unit of water pressure, 1 unit of resistance will give us 1 unit of flow. So 1 unit of water pressure, 1 unit of resistance will end up in 1 unit of current flow. So that's our basic formula then. So I will then be V divided by R, which is 1 over 1, which is 1. Simple. Now suppose we screw this in and we halve the gap as well of the water flow. Now that we have half the water flow, our resistance will be double. So our resistance will now be 2 units because we've doubled our resistance. So now to calculate our flow, I will then be V divided by R, which is 1 divided by 2, which is 0.5. So they're saying that half the water will go through, which is common sense. If you halve the gap, only half the you half the amount of water go through, which will halve our current or our speed coming out here, which is basically common sense. So if you go back to our first scenario, where we have our water pipe with our wheel and our restriction. So now if we go from the first one and make it double the size, now we will have double the gap or double the space for water to go through. So now we have half the resistance. So we've got 1 unit there, half the resistance, so our current will then be V divided by R, which is 1 divided by half, and this is then 1 on 1 divided by 1 over 2, which is then be, so our current will then be 2, which is common sense, you know, if you've got double the gap, you get double the water, double the speed, 2 times, boom. So, and that's how Ohm's law works. So in our case, we've got our solar panel, which will be delivering a certain amount of potential or voltage that we will be using. In my case, my panels are 50 volts each. This will then be connected to our solar, or our geyser, which is literally just a resistor at the end of the day. In my case, this is 27 ohms. Well, in the example we're using here for this 3 kilowatt element that we bought. So if we would look at 50 volts, which is then 50 divided by 27, which will then be 1.85 amps. If we would have a second panel in series, we will now be running at 100 volts. That's 27, sorry. And this will be 3.7 amps. So what we can see here is if there's less voltage available, we will draw less current. The more voltage we have available, the more current we will draw. So this system will actually regulate itself. The more power there's available, the more it will use and heat your water up faster. If there's less power available, it will limit itself and just take longer to heat up your water. With 2 panels, we're looking at 100 volt, which is quite interesting. In some countries, the supply is 100 volt or 110 volts. So in countries like that, you would then use something like this with the 2 panels to warm up your water. So if you have 2 panels just for the heater, the panels will give a maximum of 1000 watts. So the maximum you can get out of the system is 1000 watts. So in order to get a bit more power, you will have to add a second set of panels in parallel with these connected like this, plus on plus and minus on minus like that. In this case, you'll be able to get up to 2000 watts to push into this if you've got 500 watt panels. So as you can see on lower countries, this is what you would use, something similar to this to drive your element. In your case, this element will be somewhere between 10 and 15 ohms. Now if we look at I equals V divided by R, which is then 100 volt over say 10 ohms, we will be running 10 amps. So that means over here you will draw 10 amps, but those each set there will only give 5 amps to get you to this value. So now if you have a system that's maybe running on 4 panels, which feeds your solar controller, that charges your battery, and then that supplies electricity to your house. One would then add 2 extra panels on here, and then the geyser down here. While the geyser is warming up, it will draw power from both of those to give around 2 kilowatts, which will heat up your water nice. Once the geyser is on temperature, it will switch off and it won't use any more electricity. Then all the power will be available for the system here. This is only to prevent the geyser from killing the whole system when it kicks in. So with 2 extra panels you'll warm up your water easily and supply the house. And that's as easy it is to run a 100 volt or a 110 volt system. For the rest of the world that's running on 230 volts, they will end up doing the same what I'm doing. So this element that I'm using for this example is actually a 2000 watt element rated at 230 volts. So at my house I would run it on 4 panels, because then worst case I will be pushing 200 volt into it, which is less than its rated capacity. So let's add the other set, because I'm actually running 6 panels on my system. Although my controller is rated to handle 7 panels, I went for 6 as in winter in our country we do not get rain or cloud. We've got sunny days in winter and rain in summer. So in winter we've got the cold and the sunshine for 8 to 10 hours, which makes our panels more efficient, and we're likely to run at full voltage in winter on this. So in my case I've got 200 volts, so the power is equal to I times V. Remember our triangle. So on 200 volts we have got which is 7.4 amps. So we've got 7.4 amps multiplied by 200 volts, which will give us 1481 watts. This element is rated at 2000 watts, so we're running it at about 75% capacity. So this is never pushed to full power, which means it most likely will last a lot longer than it would have lasted, as it's never pushed to its limits. It's literally idling. So our element would last longer. And the disadvantage is then if we would normally take 2 hours to heat up our water, in this case it would take maybe 2 3/4 hours or 3 hours. So that's the only disadvantage with the system. It might take a bit longer, but not a lot. And that's how simple it is to connect your geyser. What I do have extra, I've got a contactor in line here, and I'm using the thermostat that controls the geyser temperature to switch the contactor on and off. I covered this in detail in the 3rd video, so please have a look at that to know the purpose for this and how to make it work. This component is not expensive. In South Africa they're about 350 to 400 rands, which is $15 I think, which is really not that ridiculous. And that's the only thing I added. So in my case there is no special panels. There is no special element, and there's also no special magic box. The only thing I added to my system is 1 times contactor which cost me around $15, maybe 20, not even that much, and that's the only thing I added to make my system work on DC. It's been 4 years now and it's been doing great. So the advantages of running your geyser directly from your panels is there's no losses, because you don't have to convert AC to DC. The second advantage is it saves you money, because you heat your water for free and you can heat it as hot as you want. The third thing is it doesn't flatten your battery, because we are skipping the solar controller totally, so it doesn't affect your battery at all. The fourth advantage is you don't have to spend a lot of money on a dedicated solar water warmer. You literally take the money you would have wasted on that and just add 2 more panels and take the change and go have a party or something with it. In South Africa, this will set you back around 15,000 rands. With that money you can buy yourself a set of 10 panels, 10 solar panels, and with 10 solar panels you can warm your water and power your house instead of wasting money on this silly thing that only does one thing. So if you don't have money to do it all at once, the simplest thing is just to get yourself your panels and warm up your geyser. The money you will save from warming your geyser up, as the geyser is usually 2000 watts to 3000 watts, which is one of the biggest money wasters in your house. So then the money you save on electricity you can then use later to add another 2 panels and get yourself a solar controller. You use this then to power your house. So in daytime you run the whole house from it, and then at night you switch over to the local supply from your government or your local supplier. In daytime you would then use this power to do all the power hungry items like washing machine, tumble dryers, dishwashers, vacuum cleaners, everything that's power hungry. Cook your food early in the afternoon so that you don't have to use your terrestrial supplier. You make the sun pay for it all. Then the money you save by heating your water and running your house in daytime, you can then later use to add a battery. The battery is the most expensive bit. A battery will cost you the same as the whole rest of the system almost will cost you for one single battery. Around in South Africa these panels are about 1500 South African rand to about 2200 South African rand. The solar controller will set you back around say 8000 South African rand for a 5 kilowatt unit, which is enough to run your house. Another option will be to add a second row of panels as this will give you a good 3 to 5 kilowatt available for the system, which will then make it much more efficient in daytime to run heavy duty things. So if you do it in steps you can actually do it much cheaper. Get some panels, warm up your water, take the money you save there, buy more panels, the money you save then later pays for the controller. The money you save for the controller will then later pay for the battery. So you don't have to take out a gazillion Zim dollars at one stage to make this happen. So this is just a quick way of making it more affordable. I once, a couple of years ago, wanted to buy myself a printer, but I didn't have money for a printer. So I've got this friend called Andries Vanneberg. He's a friend of mine. He said, well, just borrow the printer for a weekend to test it, in inverted commas, and then just print 1,000 flyers and sell the flyers for a rand each or whatever, and then you'll have the money to buy the things, make it pay for itself. So by doing it in steps, you can actually have the system pay for itself while doing work for you. If you buy everything up front, then you always have the risk that it's going to take you a lot of time to pay off the system before you can actually start saving your money. But by doing it in small steps, you can make it more affordable. I hope this helps you to get yourself going and start relying less on the expensive suppliers. In South Africa, we had 30% price hikes over the last 3 or 4 years each year. Our electricity has, I think, went up 600% over the last 10 years or something, which is ridiculous. At one stage we were the best and cheapest supplier in Africa. Now I think, in my opinion, we are not close to that anymore. We are not much better than the rest of Africa on some days. I hope this little tutorial or this little video gives you the info you need to customize your installation to your needs with your panels, your element, your geyser, whatever you need, and they help you to show that the geyser is not AC and panels can do almost anything. So thank you for your time. I hope this little video helps you, and as Stephen King says in his Twin Towers books, and then as Roland Duchesne says in The Dark Towers, long days and pleasant nights to you. Thank you and bye bye.